The most basic definition of a substance that is unknown is assumed to be that we are working with matter. And this is why this matters. When you have a solute or a solvent, they can be a mixture or a solution. A solution is something like sugar water, where it's evenly distributed, whereas a mixture is like a salad, where things are unevenly distributed as far as the matter that you're mixing the solute and the solvent. And so those are physical reactions or physical changes in the property of the elements or compounds that make up whatever's going on there. And so we understand, because our parallel universe within the multiverse, which is a bubble, is self-contained and separate from other bubble universes in the multiverse. So there's a boundary that's in 3 or 4 dimensions or more that separates one universe from another universe. And so if, let's say, that barrier were to be disturbed by another universe hitting our universe that is pushed by some inertial force, let's say that it's caused by a higher power, or a higher dimensional being, just like in Flatland, and that being pushes that bubble into our bubble, and both of the bubbles mix the substances that are in each. And so what is the difference between the way that we exist and work within this universe? Well, if this universe and that universe are no longer self-contained and instead are contained within the same unit, what might happen, we don't know, because it's philosophically in metaphysics, it is ridiculous to assume that any inertial bubble that is mixing with our own universe is actually predictable what it would do when it mixes with our universe. Would it have a physical reaction, or would it have a chemical reaction? And that's the thing, our physical and chemical changes actually, the limits of what can happen with substances that we mix. And what if whatever mixes with our universe is not in fact matter, or antimatter for that matter? What if we don't have a way to explain it with words, or it does something that is a reaction or a relationship between our universe and that we can't describe because we've never seen it before? So it would, for a moment, just like if you were to cause a chemical reaction where heat's exchanged and stuff, and the substance properties change, what if whatever mixes with our universe is not even governed by the same logic as our universe, that reality? And so you have our universe, which we know how our universe interacts with other things in our universe, and we know that our universe is self-contained because of the laws of conservation of everything that exists. And so those laws of conservation say essentially that we're self-contained, but there are always chemical reactions going on in this universe, so we know that it's fluctuating, but every chemical reaction is equal to an equation, and so, or a formula, and that is how we do chemistry, is we use mathematical formulas. And we're basically showing how a chemical reaction or a solution interacts. And so we're never at equilibrium or at absolute zero or below within our universe. So what could happen if we had an unknown substance enter our universe from an alternate parallel reality once that inertial force acts upon it, such to take that universe and mix it with our own? And are there universes that aren't self-contained? And so, would we know how volatile that would be and what would happen when the two universes mix? We would not. We may not even have a way to describe it. And that's the thing, is if there's a breakdown in the logic of chemical reactions, such as if you were mowing your lawn and you were burning gas, what would happen to the equations that are involved in our universe when that flux happens, when there's a reaction between that unknown substance and our substances, which we know? Well, we can't predict the results, is the assumption that you would make. But there are things that we can eliminate through the process of elimination. And so there could be change, there could be no change, or there could be others. Really, one of the things about this is, what if a universe mixed with our own, and you could do a reaction that was neither substantially physical or chemical? How would the once our bubble pops, what are our boundary? What would happen? Is really the question, and that's the limits of programming, because all logic and programming relates to actual reactions and interactions, both physical and chemical. And so when you're talking about computational interactions that eventually reach equilibrium, or maybe they never do, like a lawnmower, what if it takes you 30 minutes to mow a lawn, because the chemical reaction in the engine combustion is actually what is allowing your machine to work? But if you had an unknown substance come in from an outside area from our boundary, which is self-contained, you could take 12 years or maybe an infinite amount of computational time in order to solve the same mathematical equation or logic that governs the matter that allows for a chemical reaction in a combustion engine. And so it's really the limits of what I'm trying to explain, is there are limits within a self-contained universe that, as far as conservation, it has to be maintained. But what are the limits of programming, and how do those relate to the mixtures of unknown substances? And that's the thing, is, can logic deteriorate further than actual matter can? Or is logic in chemistry, or the logic that governs chemistry, equivalent to the interactions or the existence of the matter involved in a reaction, whether it's physical or chemical?